Well, similar to how every Elias Pettersson goal costs Canucks ownership about $1 million per goal these days, that Pierre-Luc Dubois goal was an expensive one for me to see live. Caps lose 2-1 in regulation to the Vancouver Canucks in Vancouver. With me in the building, unfortunately. With me in the lower bowl at about $300 per seat. Even more, unfortunately. And yeah, really nothing happened for the Caps in this hockey game up until the third period when Pierre-Luc Dubois mercifully for me, scored. That made it at least somewhat interesting for me near the end of this game. But yeah, not a lot happening for the Caps in this game. They did not really have it tonight. So let's do the scoring, what little scoring that we did have. And yeah, it's not as if the Caps played terribly in this game, as the Canucks did not score much either. Quinn Hughes scores in the first period, Quinn Hughes scores in the second period, and then Pierre-Luc Dubois in the third period for our Caps. So Quinn Hughes 2, Washington Capitals just 1. And yeah, I'm not going into great detail here. As you can tell, as far as the goals and whatnot, there weren't very many of them, first of all. And second of all, it is a little bit different of an experience when you are in the building, of course, rather than watching it on TV. I didn't have any notes for this game, for example. Like I was in it, right? I was in it. I was at the game, in the building, in the lower bowl, like I said. Right behind the Canucks net too, where the Capitals shoot twice. We were at that end of the rink. They were great seats, totally worth the money. And yeah, I mentioned it, at the end of the last video that I did here. I mentioned that I was going to this game, and you heard me mention as well that no matter what happened, I was not going to complain too much whether the Capitals won or lost, because you know what? Like, I have really been on an incredible run of Washington Capitals games that I have been, lucky enough, privileged enough to go to live and in person. And I recognize that very much. I'm very lucky. I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to go to some Capitals games live. I know many people don't get to do that. So I'm never going to complain about that. I'm never going to complain about being in the building for one of these games. Even if it's a 2-1 loss in regulation, because that's not the point, right? The point is to get the experience, to have, to be a part of that atmosphere, to be in the building. It's so much fun. I really recommend anyone who can do it, if you have the means to do it, to get yourself to a game live and in person. It is a totally different experience versus watching it on TV. And yeah, like I said, I have had an incredible run of Washington Capitals games that I have been to. I mentioned it, like I said, near the end of the last video that I did, when I told you guys that I was going to this game, that I would not complain too much regardless, because those who know me well enough to know the games that I've gone to, the Caps have won like pretty much every game that I've ever gone to live and in person. Alex Ovechkin has scored multiple goals as well in pretty much every game that I've ever gone to live and in person. So I've been very lucky and very blessed with the games that I have got to see in person. Some incredible wins by the Caps. Trying to think what my favorite would be. Oh, Game 5 in Vegas for sure. But if we take that one out, what would my favorite non-playoff game be? Just thinking here for a second. You know what? I would have to say it was one of the ones in Vancouver. The Caps were down 5-1 in Vancouver. Very close to the end of the second period in this game. So you can imagine the chirps that I was getting from the Canucks fans around me. The Caps, though, as they so often do, they came back and won that game, forced it to overtime, won it in a shootout. They scored, five unanswered goals, if you count the shootout goal. Nicklas Backstrom with the shootout winner in that game. It was an incredible experience. And yeah, the Canucks fans all around me got pretty quiet as the Caps started making their comeback and then eventually completed it. So that was a great game. But yeah, I have been very blessed with the performances that I have seen from our Washington Capitals, not just here in Vancouver, but like I've been to a few games in Calgary as well. They've won those ones for me as well. I went to see them at Madison Square Garden in New York. They won that game for me as well. And then, of course, Game 5 in Vegas, they won that game for all of us, baby. So all of this is to say that I recognize that I have been lucky, I have been blessed, and I have even been a little spoiled by the performances that the Washington Capitals have put on with me in the building for the last so many years. So I'm not going to complain too much at all about this game. But yeah, the Caps, they were just like off tonight, right? I think we can all agree on that. It's not as if they were bad. Like I said, they didn't play poorly in the effort sense. Like they were definitely, they were working hard. They were putting the effort in. It just was not happening for them tonight, though. Like from an execution standpoint, they just didn't have it. The passes were off. Nothing was connecting. So while the effort was there, and like I said, I didn't think that they played poorly. I didn't think that they like mailed it in or anything like that, or like they were already on the plane to get out of there. I just thought that from an execution standpoint, it was an off night for sure. Passes, like I said, were not connecting. Guys were just missing guys. There was a couple of like wide open nets that the Caps missed as well. 2 of them happened right in front of us. So that was a little bit brutal, like literally just feet in front of us. Wide open nets missed by the Caps. So that could have changed the game for sure. It could have been a different outcome. As I said, like the Caps, they didn't score goals in this game, but they also didn't give up goals, right? Like they only gave up 2 goals to the Vancouver Canucks. So a pretty solid defensive performance. And those 2 goals, by the way, both scored by Quinn Hughes. So he's a pretty good hockey player. And yeah, the Caps, though, they really didn't give up a lot defensively at all in this game, just as they really haven't given up a lot defensively all season, frankly, which is really great to see. So yeah, just kind of an off night. Not a lot of things going right for the Washington Capitals in this game. But I thought, like I said, the effort level was fine. It was fine. They just weren't connecting on what they wanted to do. The execution was just a little off. They did outshoot the Canucks 33-25. So that tells you that like the will and the want to win was there. They just, like I said, it was not happening. They were not connecting. It was just off. And it was very, very frustrating to watch in person, like I said, from just feet away in the lower bowl. Even a couple of the Canucks fans sitting around us, they were even frustrated with the Caps because they said that they wanted to see like those high scoring, high flying Washington Capitals that have been tearing the league apart this season, just being such a great team all season long. That's what they wanted to see. They wanted to see a special performance. I always say, like when I'm there live, it might be a different story when I'm watching on TV, but when I'm there live, when I've paid money to be at the game, I'm fine with a loss. I don't want to lose 2-1 though. I would rather lose 6-5. Just make it entertaining, right? Oh well. All right, babes. That is going to be it for this one. Short video today, like I said, as I was at the game. It was a rough night for me, I'm not gonna lie. Lots of chirping from the Canucks fans, as always, but I love that. That is in the spirit of our great game. That is part of the fun. So bring it on, right? I would tell you to check the standings before you speak on it too much further. But yeah, it is part of our great game that we all love so much, and it's all in the spirit of good fun. And Canucks fans are really great. They really are. Like, they never give us too hard of a time at the game, and a lot of them are Ovechkin fans and like cheering for him to break the record as well. So I know a lot of the Canucks fans in the building tonight, they wanted to see an Ovechkin goal for sure, but it did not happen tonight, which has been a very rare occurrence. So like I said, not going to complain too much at all about this one. We will just move on and we will get ready for the next game. Babes, thank you all so much, as always, for watching. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for supporting me here on the YouTube channel all season long here. It has been a blast here so far, and I know it will continue to be a blast as we head down the stretch run of the regular season and hopefully, obviously, into the Stanley Cup playoffs. Love, love, love having you all here. Click on that subscribe button if you enjoy the content, and if you haven't done so already, just click on that subscribe button for me. I really, really do appreciate it. Mwah. Thank you, babes, again so much for being here. I really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, what can we say, right? We take the loss, we move on. The Caps have not lost very many games at all this season. So nothing really to be too negative about, right? Until next time, babes, and as always, let's go Caps.